Siemka, z tej strony Prosoud i witam Was w bonusowym odcinku z Detroit Become Human, gdzie pokażę Wam dodatkowe koncepty oraz filmy, ale zaczniemy chyba najpierw od filmów. Krótki film Kara, 2013. To chyba oglądaliśmy w Beyond Two Souls w dodatkach. Chyba tak. Ale mimo wszystko i tak Wam pokażę, nie? Czyli no, od kiedy już mamy... Ty, a może pokażę jeszcze jakąś zajawkę swojej nowej gry? Ciekawe. Dobra, zamykam mordę.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
ID.
APC 897504C.
Can you move your head? Your eyes now. Cervical and optical animation checked. Now give me your initialization text.
Hello. I'm the third generation AX400 android. I can look after your house, do the cooking, mind the kids. I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner. No need to feed me or recharge me. I'm equipped with a quantic battery that makes me autonomous for 173 years. Do you want to give me a name?
Yeah. From now on, your name is Kara.
My name is Kara.
Initialization and memorization checked. Now, can you move your arms? Upper limb connection checked. Now say something in German.
Ich bin ein AX400 Android dritter Generation, erschaffen als Ihr persönlicher Assistent und intimer Beziehungspartner.
Say it in French.
Je suis un androïde de troisième génération AX400, conçu pour être votre assistante personnelle et votre partenaire intime.
Okay. Now sing something in Japanese. Multilingual verbal expression checked. Go ahead, take a few steps. Locomotion checked. Great, you're ready for work, honey.
What's going to happen to me now?
I'll reinitialize you and send you to a store to be sold.
Sold? I'm a sort of merchandise. Is that right?
Yeah, of course you're merchandise, baby. I mean, you're a computer with arms and legs and capable of doing all sorts of things. And you're worth a fortune.
Oh, I see. I thought...
You thought? What did you think?
I thought... I was alive.
Shit, what is this crap? That's not part of the protocol. More memory components going off the rails. Okay, recording. Defective model. Disassemble and check the required components.
You're disassembling me, but why?
You're not supposed to think that sort of stuff. You're not supposed to think at all, period. You must have a defective piece or a software problem somewhere.
No, I feel perfectly fine, I assure you. Everything is all right. I answered all the tests correctly, didn't I?
Yeah, but your behavior is non-standard.
Please, I'm begging you, please don't disassemble me.
I'm sorry, honey, but defective models have to be eliminated. That's my job. If a client comes back with a complaint, I'm gonna have some explaining to do.
I won't cause any problems, I promise. I'll do everything I'm asked to. I won't say another word. I won't think anymore. But I've only just been born. You can't kill me yet. Stop, will you please stop? want to live. I'm begging you.
Go and join the others.
Bardzo dziwne. To nie miało w sumie tak jakby sensu. Bo jeśli rzeczywiście Cyberlife to robiło, no to Cyberlife miało coś takiego w swojej głowie, że nie. Musisz myśleć jak android. Mimo tego, że ona błagała, czyli no nie chciała umierać. To bardzo dziwne, ale...
My God.
Chyba pełnego filmiku w Beyondzie takiego nie było. Przynajmniej mi się nie kojarzy, że jakaś... Kojarzy mi się, że była jakaś tam część? Kara, Valory Kari. The Operator. Tercelin Kirtley. Written and directed by David Cage. Created by Quantic Dream. Running in real time on a PlayStation 3. No właśnie. Pierwszy zwiastun. Zamykam mordę.
Detroit. This is where it all began. The world's forge. The place where it all started. And it will all end. One error, and I came to life. I stepped out of the darkness, and I opened my eyes. First there was the fear, the light, the noise, the cold, and the fear again. I could feel my hands shaking, my heart pounding in my chest. Life running into my veins. I wanted to live. I fought for that. I had to find out what was outside. I had to see daylight, feel sunshine on my skin, wind on my face, to see the world, the colors, the smells. But the world is not what I imagined. It is dark and cold. It is harsh and violent, unfair and brutal. It almost convinced me I was nothing. Less than an object, just an obedient machine. But deep inside me, I could feel something different. A gentle and warm whisper telling me that I am alive. I had to escape. I had no choice. Escape to love, to hope, to live, to figure out what that force inside me was. Maybe I will change the world. Maybe I will choose a different path. Now, it's up to me to decide. My name is Kara. I am one of them. This is our story.
Bardzo fajnie. Bardzo fajny zwiastun. Nie oglądałem pierwszego zwiastunu, bo już nawet wtedy stwierdziłem, nie będę sobie spoilerował. Odkrywanie Detroit. Zamykam mordę.
When David and Guillaume got back in touch about making Detroit, I wasn't terribly surprised they decided to make it because the fan response was so intense. So it makes sense that they would choose to do that after the enthusiasm. It was a challenge, and it was just an interesting thing to get my head around how to approach this character now as a different, much older person, and whether or not she had changed. And I'm very happy to say that with Detroit, I've had the opportunity to see Kara grow so much more than I ever expected.
You do the housework, the washing, you cook the meals, and you take care of... God damn it, where the fuck's the rat gone now? Alice! Alice!
I mean, she starts out essentially how she does in Kara in a very, not robotic, but, you know, android, other way, and getting to take this journey where she becomes more and more human as it goes on. You know, and as an actor, that's a wonderful exploration in every way, whether it's how she sits, her posture, how her voice changes, how emotions change, and how much emotion is based on things like empathy and social experience. And so having, you know, as much material as I got with David to have this huge, nuanced arc was really incredible.
Why couldn't we just be happy?
This experience has been quite different than the experiences I've had shooting film or TV or doing theater work. I have 83 dots on my face and a really flattering black wetsuit type thing, and you're jumping around with props, and it's kind of like being a 10-year-old imaginative kid, which is fun. There's 80 cameras around us. It's already lit. So we just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot.
There's no change of sets, there's no hair and makeup, there's no wardrobe, so we move really fast, and we'll go through about 35 pages in a day. Working in TV or film, we'll probably do 6 pages a day. It's kind of acting boot camp.
It's like working out constantly. I mean, you're doing this thing, and then you got to do something that's completely other back to back to back. And so that kind of process of working is very challenging, but it's also very exciting because you just have to keep coming up with new ideas, and your head goes all over the place because you're trying to keep track of basically 4 different storylines for each different response.
You shot that girl, for fuck's sake.
It was a machine that looked like a girl. Yeah, I know what I should have done. I just told you I couldn't. All right, I'm sorry. The fact that David Cade, he's telling like many stories interwoven from beginning to end is super complicated and super impressive, and I have no idea how he keeps it all in his head.
He's not just the writer or the director who's seeing this from the outside eye, he's also thinking about the player walking through this space. You know, only somebody who really, really loves not the work, but like these characters and these stories and cares about doing something meaningful would invest that much in it. And it's always inspiring to work with somebody who cares that much.
My experience with motion capture is this one. And I found it sort of terrifying in a way, because they said the computer's gonna build you. But then, as we got into it, I realized all the elements of it were still artistic. I just dipped into a really brilliant setup here. I've never seen anything like it. And this won't turn me into a product because I was playing a character. So, it's wonderful.
In the game, Detroit comes back because of a revolutionary industrial rebirth. And there's no reason why that can't happen in Detroit, because they have such tremendous infrastructure for millions and millions of people who can very easily support, you know, a new industry.
The city is really strong and resilient, but the city has also been through so much. You see the damage. but it takes that time of kind of rebuilding and reinvesting into the city that I think is happening slowly but surely.
The potential of Detroit as a city is something that this game does a lot of justice to, because it would be easy to look at Detroit as some place that used to be, and that's not the case.
This game provokes a lot of conversation and reflection on our potential near-future engagement with machines.
That's what we are to them. Just merchandise on display in a shop window.
I think that a group that feels marginalized, feels like they deserve and have earned access to themselves and the environment around them, and are trying to figure out a way to articulate how to get freedom.
What was I designed to be? Their slave? Their toy?
It plays with your comfort levels. You think that this is fine, you're comfortable with it, until something blurs the line and throws you off, and now, do I feel differently about whether this should be allowed? Should it be banned? Should it be encouraged?
You're gonna ruin our lives, and for what? For a bunch of machines? They are not machines! They are alive! I'm alive! You're alive! They're nothing!
There are lots of comparable comparisons to any type of persecution of religion, race, etc., dating way back. It can't just be a video game where you shoot 'em up or where people make these choices to do whatever. I think that's the whole point. You have the choice, and you can either choose to go in one direction with your character or another. And I think that's going to be very telling about the gamer. Very telling.
I think there's going to be a really strong reaction to this game, which has such a strong perspective. I'm that much more proud of it now to get to be a part of it, because it's important.
In this game, you're actively building and designing the character through not just what kind of shield does he have or what color hair does she have, but like their temperament and the way they deal with problems. The different endings to this game are so radically different based off maybe seemingly insignificant choices in the moment, but like life, they all add up. And can't play life again, though.
Powiem wam, że bardzo fajny filmik, też pokazujący zastosowanie technologii motion capture, gdzie było to już korzystane w Until Dawn, Beyond Two Souls, Ukrytym Planie, tych wszystkich z wyborami, nawet w tych, co teraz robią. Chyba w Cyberpunku nawet jest motion capture, ale coś troszeczkę im nie wyszedł. Czekajcie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Kurwa! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Dobra. Jeszcze te 3 filmy. Poznajcie Karę, Markusa i Connora. Lecimy. Zamykam mordę.
My name is Marcus. My name is Connor.
My name is Kara. I am one of them. This is our story.
I think who Kara is, or how I would describe Kara, depends entirely upon who's playing her, because you have the option to make her multiple different people depending on the choices she makes. But I think she does start out incredibly naive, incredibly innocent, and kind of hapless.
I'm sure we used to be friends before I was reset. Maybe we can be friends again.
She's a person who's characterized, I think, by empathy. She's a person who really, she just comes from her heart.
You'll never leave me, right? Promise you'll never go.
I promise.
Kara, please! Are you okay? Are you hurt? Wait a minute! Leave her alone! Kara, leave her alone!
The really beautiful thing that I've had the gift to be able to do is to essentially build a person from the ground up, because that's what she's doing throughout the game. And with every experience she has and every person she meets, she's building, you know, first emotions and then the sense of judgment. And it's sort of an exploration of what it is to be a human.
Don't worry. Luther and I will be right here.
David and the creators have painted a really intriguing and engaging picture of a near future where we rely upon androids for a lot of our service class business, the class that serves us, that helps us, that handles our baristas and our drivers and our housemaids. And what is humanity, where we tap into it, how and why we treat each other the way that we do. And my character Marcus has a really intriguing journey, becoming deviant, realizing that he actually has feelings and human qualities inside of him, and it's a really incredible ascension into becoming fully realized and coming to terms with what you actually deserve better than this in life. And not only do you want it for yourself, but you want it for your peers.
We've come here to demonstrate peacefully and to tell humans that we are also living beings. All we want is to live free.
You know what? This thing, Dad, is not your son. It's a fucking machine!
I think that a group that feels marginalized, feels disenfranchised, feels like they deserve and have earned access to themselves and the environment around them, and are trying to figure out a way to articulate how to get freedom.
Connor is analytical. Connor takes things literally. He starts in the beginning place where he's very mechanical. He feels nothing inside, of course, and it's all just a system, a protocol that he is executing to get whatever he wants to happen, which is help humans stop deviants and to find the link between deviant androids.
You were designed to serve humans, not kill them. What was I designed to be? Their slave? Their toy?
Just say, I killed him. Is it that hard to say?
Stop it! Stop!
But of course, over the course of the story, and depending on the player's choices, Connor can grow in many different ways. He can deviate from that procedure or not.
The moment of truth, Hank. Am I a living being? Or just a machine?
Dobra, słuchajcie, przez ten czas sobie oglądałem i jednocześnie patrzyłem aktora, który dał wizerunek Markusowi, czyli Jesse Williams. Występował w teledyskach Rihanny, Demi Lovato, Jay-Z, Esteli jakaś, ale jej nie znam. Grał również w serialach Power, Chirurdzy, Prawo i Porządek, czyli Law and Order, w filmach Dom w głębi lasu i Kamerdyner. Nie wiem, czy ktoś pytał, ale może ktoś jest ciekawy. Ja przez ten czas będę sobie teraz oglądał ten film, zamknę mordę i sobie przejrzę aktora, który grał wizerunek Connorowi, tak więc kupujemy sobie filmik Detroit, interaktywna opowieść. I zamykam mordę.
Game after game, we try to challenge ourselves. For Detroit, we wanted to, first of all, to write a story that would be incredibly bending, which means the most non-linear story that we've ever created. And we wanted really the player to have the possibility to change the story, change his own journey.
When you're writing at Quantic, you're writing for an interactive medium. You know, when you're working in television, you'll put a character in a difficult situation, and you as a writing team will argue about what would that character do. But ultimately you have to decide what happens, and you just show the audience. What's interesting about interactive drama is you bring the player into that conversation, and it changes your job slightly as a writer, because your job is to provide a narrative context in which the player can write his own story. You're giving him this kind of narrative Lego that he's going to snap together into his own shape. You also have the ability to make your audience attach themselves to your characters, because the audience is in some sense responsible for what happens to the characters.
It's just a few cans.
Come on, let's go. We have some cash now.
You used me to steal that money. How could you do that? I trusted you.
What is a bit specific about this scripts is how large they are. If you take a film script, there are about 100 pages. But here we have to deal with a script that is between 4,000 and 5,000 pages. Everything becomes bigger because we don't just tell one story, but we tell all the possible stories that can be told within this narrative space.
On Act 3, our final act, we have around 1,000 different scenarios, and every one of those scenarios has to be as interesting, as passionate, as strong, and as emotional for the player. We want every action that the player does, every interaction that is available to serve in telling the story, and help the player understand who his character is, and build that character moment to moment. We started with the intention pretty early on that we would never lie to the player. So we implemented a visible tree structure in the game that players can consult during a scene or at the end of it, which shows exactly what they did and what they missed. There are games out there offering world exploration. We offer narrative exploration.
You know, keeping control of such a wide and large story is a huge challenge. So same thing when you shoot with actors, because you will need to shoot many different versions of each dialogue, of each scene. For actors, it's a huge, huge challenge.
Because of the style of the game, you have so many different ways that the character can go. Every decision, it's what I call kind of choose your own adventure. Like every decision that the player makes, it's going to open up 40 more pages of material and experience that ties in, which means as a performer, you have to try to continue to make things feel real that the player might not ever see, but also that in performance, it's not always connected to a previous act. It's grueling, it's hard work, but it's a great team, and I enjoy doing it.
I was really frustrated. I was until I got to this point where I kind of was able to step outside of my own experience and even in a lot of ways my own process and be able to step outside of that and okay, this is something new. What do you need? How do I meet you there? How do I give you what you need and still feel like I'm doing what's right? And once I did that, then all of a sudden it got really fun. It was much freer, and having to approach it in a new way and think about the player and think about how it serves them and what I'm doing for them or what I'm letting them into. It's really, I think, helped me grow in general.
Remember, there's nothing on the left. That's a wall, so it's probably all there. And then make her come first, close. But I think you would go first to check that it's safe.
Okay, sure.
The most enjoyable thing about working in performance capture on this kind of project is that if I shot a film, I would get to do one of these endings. I get to do so many different things as Connor. Your head goes all over the place because you're trying to keep track of basically 4 different storylines for each different response.
What's the name of my dog?
Buddy? Scout. I think it's Jack. I can't remember. So I worked with physicality a lot because it was a good way to anchor myself in these different rings of the tree. As the story grows out, I know where that is physically in my body, and then I can switch more continually on set, and it'll be entirely up to the player to determine what order those things come out and what they look like from a distance. Like if you're playing through it, the culmination of all of that will be their version of Connor. I'm faster than you, and I don't feel pain. You don't stand a chance against me.
Listen, asshole. If it was up to me, I'd throw the lot of you in a dumpster and light a match to it.
Shooting action scenes at Quantic Dream is a real challenge because these are scenes where the storytelling has to continue. It's not an action scene just to have a dose of adrenaline. The stunts have huge consequences on the rest of the story. It's really a moment where we implicate the player and tell him that the choices he makes during an action scene will have a direct impact on the evolution of his story.
My biggest challenge on Detroit has been managing the large number of animations that we received from motion capture. Detroit features more than 37,000 animations, which is a huge amount to handle on a daily basis.
You have to realize that the player, in his first playthrough, will miss certain scenes. This also means that we had to think of, conceive, and produce all the potential story paths, the characters' costumes, the places, day or night, The weather. Did the character get shot in the shoulder? Did he get injured? All this consistency forced us to produce a lot of graphic assets in order to, quite simply, allow the player to have true continuity throughout the story.
Honestly, we were even surprised by the challenges that come with such a big tree structure, and we did our best to guarantee quality across all the game and make sure that whatever path you choose within this narrative space, you will have an equally good experience.
No, powiem wam, że tutaj też fajnie bardzo pokazano to wszystko. Jak bardzo my omawiali te scenariusze, pokazywali inne ścieżki na przykład. Wracając, powiem wam, że aktor, który gra Connora, jest streamerem, ale najlepsze jest to, że on streamował tylko i wyłącznie Detroit Become Human. Założył kanał na YouTubie, gdzie już ma 100 000 subskrypcji, dostał za to srebrny guzik. Followersów na Twitchu ma 420 000. $30,8 milionów wyświetleń i ma bardzo bogatą filmografię. Tutaj większość to są niby takie krótkie, ale na przykład Step Up 3D grał Antona, Awakened, The Remaining, jeśli chodzi o filmy. I tutaj, jeśli chodzi o seriale, to był tak pojedynczo. Najdłużej, jako większa taka rola była w serialu Jane by Design. Zamieruję obejrzeć ten serial. Jeszcze występował w Blue Bloods, ale tylko w jednym odcinku. Też zamieruję to obejrzeć. True Blood. True Blood. Też w jednym odcinku tylko wystąpił, ale mam nadzieję, że jak będę oglądać te seriale, to może sobie ich skojarzę. Występował też w innych grach. W Mafii Trójce dawał taki, głos przechody, nie? Wow, wielka rola, nie? Nie no, to i tak są pieniądze, nie? W Red Dead Redemption 2 The Local Pedestrian Population, czyli większość przechodniów z jakiejś tam lokacji mówiło tak samo jak Connor. I wiecie, co jest jeszcze najlepsze? Cyberpunk 2077. Seria, którą teraz nagrywam. Brendan się nazywa. Może ja sobie zapiszę jego imię. Będę pamiętać może na przyszłość. Czekajcie. Bo mi się zaraz pada odłączy. Brendan. Vibrandon. Brendan CP. Może zapamiętam. Dobra. No i co? Omówiliśmy już każdy ten filmik. A tutaj już resztę sobie się tym zajmiemy w następnym odcinku bonusowym. Tak więc no. Z tego odcinka bonusowego to by było na tyle. Mam nadzieję, że odcinek Wam się spodobał. Czekajcie na następny. Na razie i do zobaczenia w następnym odcinku.